welcome into another edition of Dashtown, a podcast about the businesses built by and for the people of Fuquay-Varina. And with me today, we have Brent Deitrich of LIVEVIEWSTUDIOS, photography and film. And I saw a majority of what keeps you busy, Brent, looks like it's wedding photography.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of wedding photography. We actually have another business called Live Socially Branded that we handle kind of our commercial clients through. So that's like a lot of restaurant food photography, different things for boutiques, brands, and stuff like that. But LIVEVIEWSTUDIOS handles the primarily weddings, about 80 to 90% weddings, and then families and portraits for the balance of it.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
12 years. Okay. Yeah, we started shortly after my wife and I got married. It was like a year after that. I had worked in a couple different media fields for most of my life, and just some job situations changed, and we ended up trying to go self-employed, and been doing it ever since.
It's a challenge some days.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things. It's like, you kind of got to learn to ride the ups and downs, because it's not like going and pulling a paycheck from somebody every week. You're going to have seasons where you got really good income and you're working your tail off, and then other times when it's just nothing, dead.
Yeah. No, a lot of people show up to work and get paid. As a business owner, you have to show up to work and figure out how to create that income. And being your own boss, you're your best and your worst boss ever.
Right. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So how has business been for you during the COVID-19 quarantines and shutdown? I imagine a lot of events probably were canceled or pushed back, but I also think that maybe people still held a few events here and there, and the pictures and photographs might have been more important in those circumstances. So all just kind of assuming. Tell me what you've been seeing.
So, I mean, the event industry probably got hit the hardest in a way, because obviously we need people to do events, and if people can't gather in any fashion, then that kind of eliminates that. So, I mean, for the first part of it, everything was pretty much done, shut down. We rescheduled about $40,000 worth of work that was supposed to happen in the next few months to later in the year. Thankfully, I didn't have any of my clients completely cancel. That was a big thing that all of the people in the industry were pushing for, was for people to reschedule, not to cancel. By canceling, obviously the client loses a lot of money, because they lose their, in some instances they might lose some of the money that they put down. Some of that changes when there's like act of God situations, but most of the wedding industry up until this year didn't have anything written in their contracts about pandemics either. Sure. We talked about stuff like hurricanes and immediate deaths in the family and stuff like that. So we rescheduled a lot, and a lot into next year too. Some people just kind of pieced out on 2020 and rescheduled their weddings for 2021. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, as things have kind of reopened up a bit and things have been clarified more, some people have done some small backyard weddings, or like small intimate gatherings where it's like under 10 people, just them and their parents kind of thing, and then a few people to run the event. But none of that stuff has included catered food, obviously, or anything like that, because that kind of stuff isn't back in the game yet. But yeah, I mean, it's been a huge struggle. I don't know. I don't even know how many millions or billions of dollars in North Carolina has, been affected as a result of that, because the event industry is kind of spread out. It's not, they don't look just at like weddings in particular. They look at like a broader spectrum of like, everything that includes everything from concerts and outdoor events to weddings and stuff. So, I mean, I'm sure it's been huge. But yeah, it's been a challenge for sure.
Probably easier to absorb for some of the big companies, though, than it is for a small independent business owner like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. We have, we have some reserves to get us through times like this, obviously. It's kind of that riding the ups and downs thing. After you're self-employed for a number of years, you realize that you're going to have some times where it's a couple months of dry or whatever. For the most part, the last couple of years have been great. It's kind of gotten to the point where we didn't even really have to market that hard. We just had so much word of mouth stuff coming in, and like connections that we've made with other industry people in the area, that we just had a lot of work coming in. We actually have 3 lead photographers that work on our team now. So, we were all keeping busy. We had a lot of work booked for this year.
Well, before the coronavirus and COVID pandemic and quarantine, how did you end up here in Fuquay-Varina? What motivated you to start your business here as opposed to somewhere else?
I just happened to move to this area in 2007. 2006. I started dating my wife long distance at that time. I was living in Pennsylvania. She was living in Fuquay. And so we dated long distance for a year after we had met online. And then the following year after that, in 2007, we got married. So I had moved down here, I think it was January, February 2007. And, we just kind of put down roots here, got a house and so forth. And it's just where we ended up. Yeah.
Were you doing a good bit of advertising to get the word out about your business previously?
So I wasn't doing wedding photography before that point. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I worked in a couple different fields of journalism and media. I did freelance writing for a couple different publications in Pennsylvania. And then I was also had a side business of my own going on where I was helping people with their branding and online presences and stuff like that. When I moved down here, I actually worked again for a newspaper. It was what used to be the newspaper in Fuquay that was run by Heartland Publications. And they were a company that owned, I want to say they owned like 80 to 100 newspapers maybe across the East Coast. Maybe not even that many, but they had 5 in the area here. Fuquay, Holly Springs, kind of Johnston County area, Garner, Apex. And so I worked for them for a little while, and then they eventually fizzled. As we all know, if we've been around that long, the newspapers kind of all disintegrated and a bunch of people got laid off, and I was one of them. So that was when we started into stuff full time for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely been a difficult couple decades really for the newspaper and the print industry. And a lot of people thought that photography might in fact go the same way, but you've been able to flourish and start your own business there, to get that going and to get word of mouth beginning to spread. How did you get your name out there?
I mean, it's not easy in the beginning. We did a lot of online advertising, and in probably the first half of our business, we traveled a lot more than we do now. We've got 2 kids under 6 right now. So kind of for myself, I try and stay mostly local with my stuff now. I'll have an occasional, South Carolina or Virginia wedding or something like that. But we had traveled, 18 hours further than that away in the early part to different jobs. We were doing a lot of marketing for kind of regional segments like Charlottesville, Virginia and Charleston. I don't know. It just kind of changed like over the last 4 years where we started to focus a little bit more locally on local connections. And, traveling's fun, but if you're doing it every weekend, it gets really exhausting too. So
two kids under 6 can make that a little bit more of an adventure to do any kind of traveling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So I wanted to be home. No, you're good. I wanted to be home, in the evenings, not be having to drive back from somewhere far away or fly in from somewhere far away. So, but it's definitely something that takes time. I mean, when you first jump into something like that, you're kind of a small fish. And even now the photography industry is just so saturated. There's probably easily at least 300 wedding photographers in the Raleigh area, with varying degrees to their business. Some are doing it full time. Some are, just kind of doing it on the weekend for fun. Maybe their spouse has another job or something like that.
What's your niche? What do you think separates you with so many other photographers out there?
I mean, there's a ton of people that can take good pictures. So the thing about establishing yourself differently, I think it's just the thing that comes with longevity, where you just get referred and people just know your name, and so you have that presence where people trust you. But the other thing that we try and do is just go over and above all the time with what we do and how we serve when we're doing a wedding day. Um, there's a lot of different elements to putting on a wedding day successfully, and being a wedding photographer, I always tell people that are looking to get into it, it's really about 15% knowledge of taking photos, um, 10 to 20%, and then 80% knowing how to manage your time, knowing how to um, work with other vendors, keep things on schedule. There's kind of two people that sort of make or break the wedding day schedule. One is the makeup artist. If the makeup artist doesn't get people ready on time for when things are supposed to start, and then after that, it's a lot of the photographer, because if the photographer doesn't time manage properly, the whole day can get skewed up. So um,
Well,
I think
I've got
that
your website up
yeah,
on screen. I think it's
do that here.
recording it for this, but Live View Studios, obviously great lighting and composition, talented at what you do. I mean, great photographs here. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So I mean, your job is dependent on a few other professionals doing their job as well, though. Sounds like.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's a small community, even though there are a lot of, different people in the industry. The people that have been around for a while, it's a pretty small community. We all know each other and work with each other. And it's just sort of one of those things, like when a wedding day comes, everybody pulls together and does their part. And, even if it's not my job, I've done things on a wedding day as a photographer. I've tied the groomsmen's bow ties, because most of the time they don't know how to tie them. Just little things like that. There'll be things that pop up that's like, this isn't my job, but I'm here and it's only going to take me a few minutes, and it makes the day go smoother. And so that's kind of how everybody works. I've seen caterers jump in and help with other things that are not food related, and stuff like that. And so we just all kind of work together to make it a smooth day for the couple.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's two people that matter on that day.
Yeah.
They ask
Exactly.
any groom, really just one.
Right.
It seems like.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
again, online, liveviewstudios.com. Any other
Mhm.
places where people can find out more information, get in touch? I know that, especially for small businesses, we need all the support and as much activity as we can during a time like this. So how can people get in touch if they do need your services?
Yeah, you can reach out on our website. We're on Instagram and Facebook at LiveView Studios. And then some of our other associates are linked from there as well. But we stay pretty active on social media. We get a lot of inquiries and stuff through Instagram in particular, and do a lot of outreach on there. So you can reach out through there, or you can email us, contact@liveviewstudios.com, or on our website. I think our website also has our phone number. So we try and be as accessible as we can to people in this generation. So there's a number that you can text us at, or there's a way to email us on there as well.
Wonderful. Brent Deitrich from Live View Studios, photography and a little bit of film I saw on your website as well. Just touch on that, I guess,
Yep.
before we sign off here.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably about 4 years ago, we started integrating wedding video. We were working with a guy who was one of my past grooms. He was doing wedding films, and we decided to team up. And we've kind of changed over the years. We've brought some people more in-house to do it and done more of the editing in-house. But we kind of want to provide a cohesive product for people between photo and video that just kind of brought the styles together and gave them a team that could really work together. For the most part, usually photographers and videographers get along really well and work easily together. As long as you communicate well on the day of, you can usually stay out of each other's way, not ruin each other's shots. But every once in a while, you'll get some people that are a little new to the game maybe, and they're hyper ambitious, and they just jump in front of you without realizing that their head's in what you're doing now. So it's just kind of one of those things where we come in as a team and we're already been working together for years. And so we just kind of, know the flow with each other and just give our clients a smooth experience. But yeah, it's really picked up. We probably do probably about 30% of what we do now is wedding video as well. So it's really grown over the last couple of years.
Wonderful. Capturing those special moments and memories, ladies and gentlemen. Live View Studios, here to serve the people in and around Fuquay Arena and all surrounding areas. As Brent said, he does travel a little bit, maybe not as much as he once did, but I'm sure willing to go out there where the job requires, right, Brent?
Absolutely.
All right, Brent Deitrich from Live View Studios. You can find him online, liveviewstudios.com. Brent, once all of this is over and we can get back to personal and in-person communications, love to have you in for another edition of Dashtown.
For sure. Yeah, it'd be great. I'd love that.
All right, find him online, ladies and gentlemen, liveviewstudios.com, or on your social media platform of choice at Live View Studios.